When you prepare a young bull as a whole burnt offering or sacrifice for a special vow or a peace offering to God, bring with the bull a grain offering of 6 quarts of fine flour and 2 quarts of oil. Also bring 2 quarts of wine as a drink offering. It will be a fire gift, a pleasing fragrance to God. Each bull or ram, each lamb of young goat is to be prepared in this same way. Carry out this procedure for each one, no matter how many you have to prepare. Every native-born Israelite is to follow this procedure when he brings a fire gift as a pleasing fragrance to God. In future generations, when a foreigner or visitor living at length among you presents a fire gift as a pleasing fragrance to God, the same procedures must be followed. The community has the same rules for you and the foreigner living among you. This is the regular rule for future generations. You and the foreigner are the same before God. The same laws and regulations apply to both you and the foreigner who lives with you. God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel, tell them when you enter the land into which I am bringing you, and you eat the food of that country, set some aside as an offering for God. From the first batch of bread dough, make a round loaf for an offering from the threshing floor. Down through the future generations, make this offering to God from each first batch of dough. But if you should get off the beaten track and not keep the commands which God spoke to Moses, any of the things that God commanded you under the authority of Moses from the time that God first commanded you right up to this present time, and if it happened more or less by mistake with the congregation unaware of it, then the whole congregation is to sacrifice one young bull as a whole burnt offering, a pleasing fragrance to God, accompanied by its grain offering and drink offering as stipulated in the rules, and a he-goat as an absolution offering. The priest is to atone for the entire community of the people of Israel, and they will stand forgiven. The sin was not deliberate, and they offered to God the fire gift and absolution offering for their inadvertence. The whole community of Israel, including the foreigners living there, will be absolved because everyone was involved in the error. But if it's just one person who sins by mistake, not realizing what he's doing, he is to bring a yearling she-goat as an absolution offering. The priest then is to atone for the person who accidentally sinned, to make atonement before God so that it won't be held against him. The same standard holds for everyone who sins by mistake. The native-born Israelites and the foreigners go by the same rules. But the person, native or foreigner, who sins defiantly, deliberately blaspheming God, must be cut off from his people. He has despised God's word. He has violated God's command. The person must be kicked out of the community, ostracized, left alone in his wrongdoing. Once during those wilderness years of the people of Israel, a man was caught gathering wood on the Sabbath. The ones who caught him hauled him before Moses and Aaron and the entire congregation. They put him in custody until it became clear what to do with him. Then God spoke to Moses, "Give the man the death penalty. Yes, kill him." The whole community hurling stones at him outside the camp. So the whole community took him outside the camp and threw stones at him, an execution commanded by God and given through Moses. God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel. Tell them that from now on they are to make tassels on the corners of their garments, and to mark each corner tassel with a blue thread. When you look at these tassels, you will remember and keep all the commandments of God, and not get distracted by everything you feel or see that seduces you into infidelities. The tassels will signal remembrance and observance of all my commandments to live a holy life to God. I am your God who rescued you from the land of Egypt to be your personal God. Yes, I am God, your God. Getting on his high horse one day, Korah, son of Isa, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, along with a few Reubenites, Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and son of Peleth, rebelled against Moses. He had with him 250 leaders of the congregation of Israel, prominent men with positions in the council. They came as a group and confronted Moses and Aaron, saying, "You've overstepped yourself. This entire community is holy and God is in their midst. So why do you act like you are running the whole show?" On hearing this, Moses threw himself face down on the ground. Then he addressed Korah and his gang. "In the morning, God will make clear who is on his side, who is holy. God will take his stand with the one he chooses. Now, Korah, here is what I want you and your gang to do. Tomorrow, take census in the presence of God, put fire in them, and then incense. Then we'll see who is holy, see whom God chooses. Sons of Levi, you've overstepped yourselves." Moses continued with Korah, "Listen well now, sons of Levi. Isn't it enough for you that the God of Israel has selected you out of the congregation of Israel to bring you near him to serve in the ministries of the dwelling of God and to stand before the congregation to minister to them? He has brought you and all your brother Levites into his inner circle, and now you are grasping for the priesthood too. It's God you've ganged up against, not us. What do you have against Aaron that you are bad-mouthing him?" Moses then ordered Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, to appear, but they said, "We are not coming. Isn't it enough that you yanked us out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? And now you keep trying to boss us around? Face it, you haven't brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey. You haven't given us the promised inheritance of fields and vineyards. You'd have to poke our eyes out to keep us from seeing what's going on. Forget it. We are not coming." Moses' temper blazed white hot. He said to God, "Don't accept their grain offering. I haven't taken so much as a single donkey from them. I haven't had a single hair of their heads." Moses said to Korah, "Bring your people before God tomorrow. Appear there with them and Aaron. Have each man bring his censer filled with incense and present it to God, all 250 censers. And you and Aaron do the same thing. Bring your censers." So they all did it. They brought their censers filled with fire and incense and stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Moses and Aaron did the same. It was Korah and his gang against Moses and Aaron at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The entire community could see the glory of God. God said to Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves from this congregation so that I can finish them off and be done with them." They threw themselves on their faces and said, "Oh God, God of everything living, when one man sins, are you going to take it out on the whole community?" God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the community, tell them, back off from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram. The leaders of Israel followed him. He then spoke to the community. Back off from the tents of these bad men. Don't touch a thing that belongs to them, lest you be carried off to the flood of their sins. So they all backed away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Dathan and Abiram by now had come out, and they were standing at the entrance to their tents with their wives, children, and babies. Moses continued to address the community. This is how you will know that it was God who sent me to do all these things, and that it wasn't anything I cooked up on my own. If these men die a natural death like all the rest of us, you will know that it was not God who sent me. But if God does something unprecedented, if the ground opens up and swallows the lot of them and they are pitched alive into Sheol, then you will know that these men have been insolent with God. The words were hardly out of his mouth when the earth split open. Earth opened its mouth and in one gulp swallowed them down, the men and their families, all the human beings connected with Korah, along with everything they owned. And that was the end of them, pitched alive into Sheol. The earth closed up over them, and that was the last community heard of them. At the sound of their cries, everyone around ran for dear life, shouting, "We're about to be swallowed up alive." Then God sent lightning. The fire cremated the 250 men who were offering the incense. God spoke to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, gather up the censers from the smoldering cinders and scatter the coals a distance away, for these censers have become holy. Take the censers of the men who have sinned and are now dead and hammer them into thin sheets for covering the altar. They have been offered to God and are holy to God. Let them serve as a sign to Israel, evidence of what happened this day." So Eleazar gathered all the bronze censers that belonged to those who had been burned up and had them hammered flat and used to overlay the altar, just as God had instructed him by Moses. This was to serve as a sign to Israel that only descendants of Aaron were allowed to burn incense before God. Anyone else trying it would end up like Korah and his gang. Grumbling broke out the next day in the community of Israel, grumbling against Moses and Aaron. "You have killed God's people." But it so happened that when the community got together against Moses and Aaron, they looked over the tent of meeting, and there was the cloud, the glory of God for all to see. Moses and Aaron stood at the front of the tent of meeting. God spoke to Moses, "Back away from this congregation so that I can do away with them this very minute." They threw themselves face down on the ground. Moses said to Aaron, "Take your censer and fill it with incense, along with fire from the altar. Get to the congregation as fast as you can. Make atonement for them. Anger is pouring out from God. The plague has started." Aaron grabbed the censer as directed by Moses and ran into the midst of the congregation. The plague had already begun. He put burning incense into the censer and atoned for the people. He stood there between the living and the dead and stopped the plague. 14,700 people died from the plague, not counting those who died in the affair of Korah. Aaron then went back to join Moses at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The plague was stopped. God spoke to Moses, "Speak to the people of Israel. Get staffs from them, 12 staffs in all, one from the leader of each of their ancestral tribes. Write each man's name on his staff. Start with Aaron, write Aaron's name on the staff of Levi, and then proceed with the rest, a staff for the leader of each ancestral tribe. Now let them out in the tent of meeting in front of the testimony where I keep appointments with you. that will happen next is this: the staff of the man I choose will sprout. I am going to put a stop to this endless grumbling by the people of Israel against you. Moses spoke to the people of Israel. Their leaders handed over 12 staffs, one for the leader of each tribe, and Aaron's staff was one of them. Moses laid out the staffs before God in the tent of testimony. Moses walked into the tent of testimony the next day and saw that Aaron's staff, the staff of the tribe of Levi, had in fact sprouted buds, blossoms, and even ripe almonds. Moses brought out all the staffs from God's presence and presented them to the people of Israel. They took a good look. Each leader took the staff with his name on it. God said to Moses, return Aaron's staff to the front of the testimony. Keep it there as a sign of rebels. This will put a stop to the grumbling against me and save their lives. Moses did just as God commanded. The people of Israel said to Moses, we are as good as dead. This is our death sentence. Anyone who even gets close to the dwelling of God is as good as dead. Are we all doomed? God said to Aaron, you and your sons along with your father's family are responsible for taking care of sins having to do with the sanctuary. You and your sons are also responsible for sins involving the priesthood. So enlist your brothers of the tribe of Levi to join you and assist you and your sons in your duties in the tent of testimony. They will report to you as they go about their duties related to the tent, but they must not have anything to do with the holy things of the altar under penalty of death. Both they and you will die. They are to work with you in taking care of the tent of meeting. Whatever work is involved in the tent, outsiders are not allowed to help you. Your job is to take care of the sanctuary and the altar so that there will be no more outbreaks of anger on the people of Israel. I personally have picked your brothers, the Levites from Israel as a whole. I am giving them to you as a gift of God to help with the work of the tent of meeting. But only you and your sons may serve as priests working around the altar and inside the curtain. The work of the priesthood is my exclusive gift to you. It cannot be delegated. Anyone else who invades the sanctuary will be executed. God spoke to Aaron, I am personally putting you in charge of my contributions. All the holy gifts I get from the people of Israel, I am turning them over to you and your children for your personal use. This is the standing rule. You and your sons get what's left from the offerings, whatever hasn't been totally burned up on the altar. The leftovers from grain offerings, absolution offerings, and compensation offerings. Eat it reverently. It is most holy. Every male may eat it. Treat it as holy. You also get the wave offerings from the people of Israel. I present them to you and your sons and daughters as a gift. This is the standing rule. Anyone in your household who is ritually clean may eat it. I also give you all the best olive oil, the best new wine, and the grain that is offered to God as the first fruits of their harvest. All the first fruits they offer to God are yours. Anyone in your household who is ritually clean may eat it. You get every totally devoted gift, every firstborn that is offered to God, whether animal or person is yours, except you don't get the firstborn itself, but its redemption price. Firstborn humans and ritually clean animals are brought back and you get the redemption price. When the firstborn is a month old, it must be redeemed at the redemption price of 5 shekels of silver, using the standard of the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 20 gerahs. On the other hand, you don't redeem a firstborn ox, sheep or goat, they are holy. Instead, splash their blood on the altar and burn their fat as a fire gift, a pleasing fragrance to God. But you get the meat just as you get the breast from the wave offering and the right thigh. All the holy offerings that the people of Israel get aside for God, I'm turning over to you and your children. That's the standard rule and includes both you and your children. A covenant of salt, eternal and unchangeable before God. God said to Aaron, you won't get any inheritance in land, not so much as a small plot of ground. I'm your plot of ground. I'm your inheritance among the people of Israel. I am giving the Levites all the tithes of Israel as their pay for the work they do in the tent of meeting. Starting now, the rest of the people of Israel cannot wander in and out of the tent of meeting. They will be penalized for their sin, and the penalty is death. It's the Levites and only the Levites who are to work in the tent of meeting, and they are responsible for anything that goes wrong. This is the regular rule for all time. They get no inheritance among the people of Israel. Instead, I turn over to them the tithes that the people of Israel present as an offering to God. That is why I give the ruling. They are to receive no land inheritance among the people of Israel. God spoke to Moses, speak to the Levites, tell them, when you get the tithe from the people of Israel, the inheritance that I have assigned to you, you must tithe that tithe and present it as an offering to God. Your offerings will be treated the same as other people's gifts of grain from the threshing floor or wine from the wine vat. This is your procedure for making offerings to God from all the tithes you get from the people of Israel. Give God's portion from these tithes to Aaron, the priest. Make sure that God's portion is the best, the holiest of everything you get. Tell the Levites, when you offer the best part, the rest will be treated the same as grain from the threshing floor or wine from the wine vat that others give. You and your households are free to eat the rest of it anytime and any place. It's your wages for your work at the tent of meeting. By offering the best part, you will avoid guilt. You won't desecrate the holy offerings of the people of Israel, and you won't die. Okay, brethren, this is the word of God.
Numbers 19. God spoke to Moses and Aaron. This is the rule from the revelation that God commands. Tell the people of Israel to get a red cow, a healthy specimen, ritually clean, that has never been in harness. Present it to Eleazar the priest, then take it outside the camp and butcher it while he looks on. Eleazar will take some of the blood on his finger and splash it 7 times in the direction of the tent of meeting. Then under Eleazar's supervision, burn the cow, the whole thing, hide meat, blood, even its dung. The priest then will take a stick of kanda, some sprigs of hyssop, and a piece of scarlet materials, and throw them on the burning cow. Afterwards, the priest must wash his clothes and bath well with water. He can then come into the camp, but he remains ritually unclean until evening. The man who burns the cow must also wash his clothes and bath with water. He also is unclean until evening. Then a man who is ritually clean will gather the ashes of the cow and place them in a ritually clean place outside the camp. The congregation of Israel will keep them to use in the water of cleansing and absolutely offering. The man who gathered up the ashes must scrub his clothes. He is ritually unclean until evening. This is to be a standing rule of both native-born Israelites and foreigners living among them. Anyone who touches a dead body is ritually unclean for 7 days. He must purify himself with the water of cleansing on the 3rd day. On the 7th day, he will be clean. But if he doesn't follow the procedures for the 3rd and 7th day, he won't be clean. Anyone who touches the dead body of anyone and doesn't get cleansed, desecrated God's dwelling and is to be excommunicated. For as long as the water of cleansing has not been sprinkled on him, he remains ritually unclean. This is the rule of someone who dies in his tent. Anyone who enters the tent or is already in the tent is ritually unclean for 7 days, and every open container without a lid is unclean. Anyone out in the open field who touches a corpse, whether dead from violent or natural causes, or a human bone or a grave, is unclean for 7 days. For this unclean person, take some ashes from the burnt absolution offering and add some fresh water to it in a bowl. Find a ritual clean man to dip a sprinkle of hyssop into the water and sprinkle the tent and all its furnishings. The person who were in the tent, the one who touched the bones of the person who was killed or died a natural death, and whoever may have touched a grave, then he is to sprinkle the unclean person on the 3rd and 7th day. On the 7th day, he is considered cleansed. The cleansed person must then scrub his clothes and take a bath. By evening, he is clean. But if an unclean person does not go through this cleansing procedure, he must be excommunicated from the community. He has desecrated the sanctuary of God. The water of cleansing has not been sprinkled on him, and he is ritually unclean. This is the standing rule of these cases. The man who sprinkles the water of cleansing has to be scrubbed, has to scrub his clothes, and anyone else who touched the water of cleansing is also ritually unclean until evening. Anything the ritually unclean man touches becomes unclean, and the person who touches that what is touched is unclean until evening. In the first month, the entire company of the people of Israel arrived in the wilderness of Zin. The people stayed in Kadesh. The people stayed in Kadesh. Miriam died there, and she was buried. There was no water there for the community, so they ganged up on Moses and Aaron. They attacked Moses. We wish we would have died. We would have died when the rest of our brothers died before God. Why did you haul this congregation of God out here into this wilderness to die, people and cattle alike? And why did you take us out of Egypt in the first place, dragging us into this miserable country? No grain, no figs, no grapevines, no pomegranates, and now not even any water. Moses and Aaron walked from the assembled congregation to the tent of meeting and threw themselves face down on the ground, and they saw the glory of God. God spoke to Moses, "Take the staff, assemble the community, you and your brother Aaron. Speak to that rock that's right in front of them, and it will give water. You will bring water out of the rock for them. Congregation and cattle will both drink." Moses took the staff away from God's presence as commanded. He and Aaron rounded up the whole congregation in front of the rock. Moses spoke, "Listen, rebels, do we have to bring water out of this rock for you?" With that, Moses raised his arm and slammed his staff against the rock once, twice. Water poured out. Congregation and cattle drank. God said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you didn't trust me, didn't treat me with holy reverence in front of the people of Israel, you too aren't going to lead this company into the land that I'm giving them." These were the waters of Merib, bickering, where the people of Israel bickered with God, and he revealed himself as holy. Moses sent a message from Kadesh to the king of Edom with this message: "A message from your brother Israel. You are familiar with all the trouble we have run into. Our ancestors went down to Egypt and lived there a long time. The Egyptians viciously abused both us and our ancestors. But when we cried out for help to God, he heard our cry. He sent an angel and got us out of Egypt. And now here we are at Kadesh, a town at the border of your land. Will you give us permission to cut across your land? We won't trespass through your fields or orchards, and we won't drink out of your wells. We will keep to the main road, the King's Road, staying neither right nor left until we have crossed your borders." The king of Edom answered, "Not on your life. If you so much as set a foot on my land, I will kill you." The people of Israel said, "Look, we will stay on the main road. If we or our animals drink any water, we will pay you for it. We are harmless, just a company of foot travelers." He answered again, "No, you may not come through." And Edom came out and blocked the way with a crowd of people brandishing weapons. Edom refused to let them cross through his land, so Israel had to entour around him. The people of Israel, the entire company, set out from Kadesh and traveled to Mount Hor. God said to Moses and Aaron at Mount Hor, at the border of Edom, It's time for Aaron to be gathered into the company of his ancestors. He will not enter the land I am giving to the people of Israel, because you both rebelled against my orders at the waters of Merib. To take Aaron and his son Eleazar and lead them up Mount Horeb, remove Aaron's clothes from him and put them on his son Eleazar. Aaron will be gathered there. Aaron will die. Moses obeyed God's command. They climbed Mount Hor as the whole congregation watched. Moses took off Aaron's clothes and put them on his son Eleazar. Aaron died on top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. The whole congregation, getting the news that Aaron had died, went into 30 days of mourning for him. The Canaanites, king of Harad, ruling in the Negev, heard that Israel was advancing up the road to Athraim. He attacked Israel and took prisoners of war. Israel vowed a vow to God: if you will give these people into our power, we will destroy their towns and present the ruins to you as a holy destruction. God listened to Israel's prayer and gave them the Canaanites. They destroyed both them and their towns. a holy destruction. They named the place Homa, holy destruction. They set out from Mount Hor along the road, the Red Sea Road, a detour around the land of Edom. The people became irritable and cross as they traveled. They spoke out against God and Moses. Why did you drag us out of Egypt to die in this God-forsaken country? No decent food, no water. We can't stomach this stuff any longer. So God sent poisonous snakes among the people. They beat them, and many in Israel died. The people came to Moses and said, We sinned when we spoke out against God and you. Pray to God, ask him to take these snakes from us. Moses prayed for the people. God said to Moses, Make a snake and put it on a flagpole. Whoever is bitten and looks at it will live. So Moses made a snake of fiery copper and put it on top of a flagpole. Anyone bitten by a snake who then looked at the copper snake lived. The people of Israel set out and camped at Oboth. They left Oboth and camped at Elie Abrahi in the wilderness at faces Moab on the east. They went from there and pitched camp in Azed Valley. Their next camp was alongside the Arnon River, which marked the border between Amorite across the Moab. The book of the War of God refers to this place, Wahib in Saphah. The canyons of Arnon along the canyon, ravines that lead to the village and lean hard against the border of Moab. They went on the Bear, the well, where God said to Moses, Gather the people, I'll give them water. That's where Israel sang this song. A rapt well, sing the song of the well sung by princes, dug out by the people's leaders, digging with their escapers and staffs. From the wilderness, their roots went from Matana, the Nahaliel to Bamoth, the heights to the valley to that opens into the fields of Moab, from where Bixga, the summit, arises and overlooks Jeshimon waterland. Israel sent emirs to Senhon, king of Amorites, saying, Let us cross your land. We won't trespass into your field or drink water in your vineyards. We will keep to the main road, the king's road, until we are through your land. But Sihon won't let Israel go through. Instead, he got his army together and marched into the wilderness to fight Israel at Jahaz to attack Israel. But Israel fought hard, beat him soundly, and took possession of his land from the Arnon all the way to Jabbok, right up to the Ammonite border. They stopped there because the Ammonite border was fortified. Israel took and occupied all the Amorite city, including Heshbon and all its surrounding villages. Heshbon was capital city of Shihon, king of the Amorites. He had attacked the former king of Moab and captured all his land as far north as the river Arnon. That is why the folk singers sing, Come to Heshbon to rebuild the city, restore Henon's town. Fire once poured out of Heshbon. Flames from the city of Henon burning up Arrow of Moab, the Nevites, the natives of Anods. Doom Moab, the people of Chemosh, done for. Sons stand out as fugitives, daughters abandoned as captives. To the king of the Amorites, to Hannon, oh, but we finished them off. Nothing left of Heshbon, as far as Dedon. Devastation as far off as Naphor. Scorched earth of all the way to Medeba. Israel moved in and lived in Amorite country. Moses sent men to scout out Gaza. They captured its villages and drove away the Amorites who lived there. Then they turned north on the road to Bashan. Og, king of Bashan, marched out with his entire army to meet Moses in battle of Edrei. God said to Moses, "Don't be afraid of him. I am making a present of him to you. Him and all his people and his land. Treat him the same as Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon." So they attacked him, his son, and all the people. There was not a single survivor. Israel took the land. The people of Israel marched on and camped on the plains of Moab at Jordan, Jericho. Balak, son of Zippor, learned of all that Israel had done to the Amorites. The people of Moab were in a total panic because of Israel. There were so many of them, they were terrorized. That's the word of the Lord.
Numbers chapter 22, verse 4. Moab spoke to the leaders of Midian. "Look, this mob is going to clean us out, a bunch of crows picking a carcass clean." Balak, son of Zippor, who was the king of Moab at that time, sent emissaries to get Balaam, son of Beor, who lived at Pethor on the banks of Euphrates River, his homeland. Balak's emissaries said, "Look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they are all over the place, and they are pressing hard on me. Come and cast them for me. They are too much for me. Maybe then I can beat them. Well, attack and drive them out of the country. You have a reputation. Those you bless, stay blessed. Those you cast, stay cast." The leaders of Moab and the Midian were soon on their way, with the fee for the casting tucked safely in their wallets. When they got to Balaam, they gave him Balak's message. "Stay here for the night," Balaam said. "Stay here for the night." Balaam said, "In the morning I'll deliver the answer that God gives me." The Moabite noble stayed with him. Then God came to Balaam. He asked, "So who are these men here with you?" Balaam answered, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent them with a message. Look, the people that came up out of Egypt are all over the place. Come and cast them for me. Maybe then I'll be able to attack and drive them out of the country." God said to Balaam, "Don't go with them and don't cast others. They are blessed people." The next morning, Balaam got up and told Balak's nobles, "Go back home. God refuses to give me permission to go with you." So the Moabite nobles left, came back to Balaam and said, "Balaam wouldn't come with us." Balak sent another group of nobles, higher ranking and more distinguished. They came to Balaam and said, "Balak, son of Zippor, says, please don't refuse to come to me. I will honor and reward you lavishly. Anything you tell me to do, I'll do. I'll pay anything. Only come and curse these people. Balaam answered Balak's servants, even if Balak gave me his house stuffed with silver and gold, I wouldn't be able to defy the orders of my God and to do anything, whether big or little. But come along and stay with me tonight, as the others did. I'll see what God will say to me this time. God came to Balaam that night and said, since these men have come all this way to see you, go ahead and go with them, but make sure you do absolutely nothing other than what I tell you. Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went off with the nobleman from Moab. As he was going, though God's anger flared, the angel of God stood in the road to block his way. Balaam was riding his donkey, accompanied by his 2 servants. When the donkey saw the angel blocking the road and brandishing a sword, she veered off the road into the ditch. Balaam beat the donkey and got her back on the road. But as they were going through a vineyard with a fence on either side, the donkey again saw God's angel blocking the way and veered into the fence, crushing Balaam's foot against the fence. Balaam hit her again. God's angel blocked the way yet again. A very narrow passage this time. There was no getting through on the right or left. Seeing the angel, Balaam's donkey sat down under him. Balaam lost his temper. He beat the donkey with his stick. The god gave speech to the donkey. She said to Balaam, what have I ever done to you that you have beat me these 3 times? Balaam said, because you've been playing games with me. If I had a sword, I would have killed you by now. The donkey said to Balaam, am I not your trusty donkey on whom you've ridden for years, right up till now? Have I ever done anything like this to you before? Have I? He said, no. Then God helped Balaam see what was going on. He saw God's angel blocking the way, brandishing a sword. Balaam fell to the ground, his face in the dirt. God's angel said to him, why have you beaten your poor donkey these 3 times? I have come here to block your way because you're getting way ahead of yourself. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If she hadn't, I would have killed you by this time. But not that donkey, I would have let her off. Balaam said to God's angel, I have sinned. I had no idea you were standing in the road blocking my way. If you don't like what I'm doing, I'll head back. But God's angel said to Balaam, go ahead and go with them, but only say what I tell you to say. Absolutely no other word. And so Balaam continued to go with Balak's nobles. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him in the Moabite town that was on the banks of the Arnon, right on the boundary of his land. Balak said to Balaam, didn't I send an urgent message for help? Why didn't you come when I called? Do you think I can't pay you enough? Balaam said to Balak, well, I'm here now, but I can't tell you just anything. I can speak only words that God gives me, no other. Balaam then accompanied Balak to Kiriath Huzath street town. Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep for sacrifices and presented them to Balaam and the nobles who were with him. At daybreak, Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth Baal, the heights of Baal, so that he could get a good view of some of the people. But Balaam said, build me 7 altars here, and then prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams. Balak did it. Then Balaam and Balak sacrificed a bull and a ram on each of the altars. Balaam instructed Balak, stand watch here beside your whole burnt offering while I go off by myself. Maybe God will come and meet with me. Whatever he shows or tells me, I report to you. Then he went off by himself. God did meet Balaam. Balaam said, I've set up 7 altars and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Then God gave Balaam a message. Return to Balak and give him this message. He went back and found him stationed beside his whole burnt offering, and with him all the nobles of Moab. Then Balaam spoke his message oracle. Balak led me here from Aram, the king of Moab, all the way from the eastern mountains. Go, curse Jacob for me. Go, damn Israel. How can I curse whom God has not cursed? How can I damn who God has not damned? From rock pinnacles I see them. From hilltops I survey them. Look, a people camping off by themselves, thinking themselves outside among nations. But who could ever count the dust of Jacob, or take a census of cloud of dust Israel? I want to die like these right living people. I want an end just like theirs. Balak said to Balaam, what's this? I brought you here to curse my enemies, and all you've done is bless them. Balaam answered, don't I ever be careful to say what God gives me to say? Balak said to him, go with me to another place from which you can only see the outskirts of their camp. You won't be able to see the whole camp. From there, curse them for my sake. So he took him to Watchman's Meadow at the top of Pisgah. He built 7 altars there and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, take up your station here beside your whole burnt offering, while I meet with him over there. God met with Balaam and gave him a message. He said, return to Balak and give him the message. Balaam returned and found him stationed beside his whole burnt offering, and the nobles of Moab with him. Balak said to him, what did God say? Then Balaam spoke his message oracle. On your feet, Balak. Listen carefully, son of Zippor. God is not a man. One gives 2 lies, and not a son of man changing his mind. Does he speak and not to do what he says? Does he promise and not come through? I was brought here to bless, and now he's blessed. How can I change that? He has no bone to pick with Jacob. He sees nothing wrong with Israel. God is with them, and they're with him, shouting praises to their king. God brought them out of Egypt, rampaging like a wild ox. No magic spells can bind Jacob. No incantations can hold back Israel. People look at Jacob and Israel and say, what a great thing has God done. Look, a people rising to its feet, stretching like a lion, a king of the beasts, aroused, unsleeping, unresting until its hunt is over, and it's eaten and drunk its fill. Balak said to Balaam, well, if you can't curse them, at least don't bless them. Balaam replied to Balak, didn't I tell you earlier, all God speaks, and only what he speaks, I speak. Balak said to Balaam, please, let me take you to another place. Maybe we can find the right place in God's eyes where you'll be able to curse them for me. So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor with a vista over the Jeshimon wasteland. Balaam said to Balak, build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for sacrifice. Balak did it and presented an offering of a bull and a ram on each of the altars. But now Balaam realized that God wanted to bless Israel. So he didn't work in any sorcery as he had done earlier. He turned and looked out over the wilderness. As Balaam looked, he saw Israel camped tribe by tribe. The Spirit of God came on him, and he spoke his oracle message. Decree of Balaam, son of Beor. Yes, decree of a man with 20/20 vision. Decree of a man who hears God speak, who speaks what the strong God shows him, who falls on his face in worship, who sees what's really going on. What beautiful tents, Jacob. Oh, your homes, Israel, like valleys stretching out in the distance, like gardens planted by rivers, like sweet herbs planted by the gardener God, like red cedars by pools and springs. Their bucket will brim with water, their seed will spread like everywhere. Their king will tower over Agag and his ilk, their kingdom surpassing majestic. God brought them out of Egypt, rampaging like a wild ox, gulping enemies like morsels of meat, crushing their bones, snapping their arrows. Israel crushes like a lion and naps, king of the beasts. Who dares disturb him? Whoever blesses you is blessed. Whoever curses you is cursed. Balak lost his temper with Balaam. He shook his fist. He said to Balaam, I got you in here to curse my enemy. And what have you done? Bless them 3 times. Get out of here. Go home. I told you I would pay you well, but you're getting nothing. You can blame God. Balaam said to Balak, didn't I tell you up front when you sent emissaries? Even if Balak gave me his place stuffed with silver and gold, I couldn't do anything on my own. Whether good or bad, that went against God's command. I'm leaving for home and my people, but I warn you of what these people will do to your people in the days to come. Then he spoke his oracle message. Decree of Balaam son of Beor. Decree of a man with 20/20 vision. Decree of a man who hears godly speech, who knows what's going on with the high God, who sees what the strong God reveals, who bows in the worship and sees what's real. I see him, but not right now. I perceive him, but not right here. A star rises from Jacob, a scepter from Israel, crushing the heads of Moab, the skulls of all the noisy windbags. I see Edom sold off at auction, enemies are marked down at the flea market, while Israel walks off with the trophies. A ruler is coming from Jacob, who'll destroy what's left in the city. Then Balaam spotted Amalek and delivered an oracle message. He said, Amalek, you're in first among nations right now, but you're going to come in last, ruined. He saw the Kenites and delivered his oracle message to them. Your home is in a nice, secure place, like a nest high on the face of cliff. Still, your Kenites will look stupid when Asa takes you prisoner. Balaam spoke his final oracle message. Dome. Who stands a chance when God starts in? Sea peoples, riders from across the sea, will harass Asher and Eber, but they'll also come to nothing, just like all the rest. Balaam got up and went home, Balak also on his way. While Israel was camped at Shittim, Acacia Grove, the men began to have sex with the Moabite women. It started when the women invited the men to their sex and religion worship. They ate together and then worshipped their gods. Israel ended up joining the worship of Baal at Tyre. God was furious, his anger blazing out against Israel. God said to Moses, take all the leaders of Israel and kill them by hanging, leaving them publicly exposed in order to return God's anger away from Israel. Moses issued orders to the judges of Israel. Each of you must execute the men under your jurisdiction who joined in the worship of Baal Peor. Just then, while everyone was weeping in the penitence at the entrance of the tent of meeting, an Israelite man, flouting his behavior in front of Moses and the whole assembly, paraded a Midianite woman into his family tent. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw what he was doing, grabbed his spear and followed him into the tent. With one thrust, he drove the spear through the two of them, the man of Israel and the woman, right through their private parts. That stopped the plague from continuing among the people of Israel. But 24,000 had already died. God spoke to Moses. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, has stopped my anger against the people of Israel, because he was as zealous for my honor as I myself am. I didn't kill all the people of Israel in my zeal. So tell him that I am making a covenant of peace with him. He and his descendants are joined in a covenant of eternal priesthood, because he was zealous for his God and made atonement for the people of Israel. The name of the man of Israel who was killed with the Midianite woman was Zimri, son of Salu, the head of the Simeonite family. And the name of the Midianite woman was killed was Cosbi, daughter of Zur, a tribal chief of a Midianite family. God spoke to Moses, from here on, make the Midianites your enemies. Fight them tooth and nail. They turned out to be your enemies when they seduced you in business of power, and that woman Cosbi, a daughter of the Midianite leader, the woman who was killed at the time of the plague in the matter of poor. After the plague, God said to Moses and Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, number the entire community of Israel by families. Count every person who is 20 years and older who is able to serve in the army of Israel. Obeying God's command, Moses and Eleazar the priest addressed them on the plains of Moab at Jordan, Jericho. Count off from age 20 and older the people of Israel who came out of the land of Egypt. Reuben, Israel's firstborn. The sons of Reuben were Hanok and Hanoshite clan, Palu and Paluite clan, Hezron and Hezronite clan, Carmi and Carmite clan. These made up the Rehoboite clans. They numbered 43,730. The son of Palu, Eliab. The sons of Eliab, Nemuel, Dathan, Abiram. These were the same Dathan and Abiram community leaders from Korah's gang who rebelled against Moses and Aaron in the Korah rebellion against God. The earth opened its jaws and swallowed them along with Korah's gang, who died when the fire ate them up, all 250 of them. After all these years, there is still a warning sign, but the line of Korah did not die out. The sons of Simeon by clan, Nemuel and Nemuelite clan, Jamin and Jaminite clan, Jakin and Jakinite clan, Zerah and Zerahite clan, Shaul and Shaulite clan. These were the clans of Simeon. They numbered 22,200 men. The sons of Gad by clans, Zephon and the Zephonite clan, Hagi and the Haggite clan, Shuni and the Shunite clan, Ozni and the Oznite clan, Eri and the Erite clan, Arodi and the Arodite clan, Arali and the Aralite clan. These were the sons of Gad. They numbered 40,500 men. Er and Onan were sons of Judah, who died early on in Canaan. The sons of Judah by clans, Shelah and the Shelite clan, Perez and the Perezite clan, Zerah and the Zerahite clan. The sons of Perez, Hezron and the Hezronite clan, Hamal and Hamalite clan. These were the sons of Judah. They numbered 76,500 men. The sons of Issachar by clans, Tola and the Tolite clan, Power and the Poite clan, Jashab and the Shubite clan, Shimron and the Shimronite clan. These were the clans of Issachar. They numbered 64,300. The sons of the Zebulun by clans, Sered and the Seredite clan, Elon and the Elonite clan, Jalil and the Jalilite clan. These were the clans of Zebulun. They numbered 60,500. The sons of Joseph by clans, through Manasseh and Ephraim. Through Manasseh, Machir and Machrite clan. Now Machir was the father of Gilead and the Gileadites clan. The sons of the Gilead, Lezer and the Lezerite clan, Halek and the Helekite clan, Asriel and Asrielite clan, Sechem and the Sechemite clan, Semida and the Semidite clan, Hapha and the Hapharite clan. Zelophehad, son of Hapha, had no sons, only daughters. Their names were Mala, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah. These were the clans of Manasseh. They numbered 52,000, 700. The sons of Ephraim by clans, Shushela and the Shuthelite clan, Becher and Becherite clan, Tahan and the Tahanite clan. The sons of Shuthela, Aaron and Aaronite clan. These were the clans of Ephraim. They numbered 32,500. These are all sons of Joseph by their clans. The sons of Benjamin by clans, Bela and the Belite clan, Ashbel and the Shibelite clan, Ahiram and the Ahiramite clan, Shapham and the Shuphamite clan, Hapham and the Haphamite clan. The sons of Bela through Arad and Naaman, Arad and the Aradnite clan, Naaman and the Naamite clan. These were the clans of Benjamin. They numbered 45,600. The sons of Dan by clan, Shuham and the Shuhamite clan. These are the clans of Dan, all the Shuhamite clan. They numbered 64,400. The sons of Asher by clan, Imnah and the Imnite clan, Ishvi and the Ishivite clan, Beriah and the Berite clan. The sons of Beriah, Habar and the Habarite clan, Malchariel and the Malchariite clan. Asher also had a daughter, Sarah. These were the clans of Asher. They numbered 53,400. The sons of Naphtali by clans, Jazeel and Jazalite clan, Gani and the Ganiite clan, Jezza and the Jezreelite clan, Shillem and the Shillemite clan. These were the clans of Naphtali. They numbered 45,400. The total number of the people of Israel, 601,730. God spoke to Moses, divide up the inheritance of the land based on population. A larger group gets a larger inheritance. A smaller group gets a smaller inheritance. Each gets its inheritance based on the population count. Make sure the land is assigned by lot. Each group's inheritance is based on a population, the number of the names listed in its ancestral tribe, divided among the many and the few by lots. These are the numberings of the Levites by clan. Gershon and the Gershonite. Gershon and the Gershonite clan, Kohath and the Kohathite clan, Merari and the Merarite clan. The Levite clans also included Libnite clan and the Hebronite clan, and the Mahalite clan, the Mushite clan, the Korahite clan. The Kohath was the father of Amram. Amram's wife was Joshbed, a descendant of Levi, born into the Levite family during the Egyptian years. Joshbed bore Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam to Amram. Aaron was the father of Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. However, Nadab and Abihu died when they offered unauthorized sacrifice in the presence of God. The numbering of the Levites, males 1 month and older, came to 23,000. They hadn't been counted in with the rest of the people of Israel because they didn't inherit any land. These are the ones numbered by Moses and Eleazar, the priest. The people of Israel counted in the plains of Moab at Jordan, Jericho. Not one of them had been among those counted by Moses and Aaron, the priest, in the census of people of Israel taken in the wilderness of Sinai. For God had said to them, they will die in the wilderness. Not one of them will be left except for Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun. The daughters of Zelophehad showed up. Their father was the son of Hapha, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, belonging to the clans of Manasseh, son of Joseph. The daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. They came to the entrance of the tent of meeting. They stood before Moses and Eleazar the priest, before the leaders and the congregation, and said, our father died in the wilderness. He wasn't part of Korah's rebel anti-God gang. He died for his own sins, and he left no sons. But why should our father's name die out from his clan just because he had no sons? So give us an inheritance. Give us an inheritance among our father's relatives. Moses brought their case to God. God ruled. Zelophehad's daughters are right. Give them land as an inheritance among their father's relatives. Give them their father's inheritance. Then tell the people of Israel, if a man dies and leaves no son, give his inheritance to his daughter. If he has no daughter, give it to his brothers. If he has no brothers, give it to his father's brothers. If his father had no brothers, give it to the nearest relative, so that the inheritance stays in the family. This is the standard procedure for people of Israel, as commanded by God through Moses. That is the word of the Lord.